Okay, being 4:30, I call this meeting together. I want to remind anyone in the room that we will be recording or taping this event. As required by the open meeting law, we are informing you that the district will videotape this public meeting. In addition, if anyone is interested in either video or audio tape, auto taping this meeting, they are required to inform the chair. We are now moving into reorganization. We'll be the first school to do that tonight. And at this time, I will entertain a nomination for chair of this committee going forward.
I nominate Jan.
We have a nomination of Jan, and do we have a second?
A second to the nomination.
Okay, we have a second. Any other nominations?
I would like to, and this is not at all a personal thing, if it felt like to me that it's time to maybe change things up a little bit. It's been a long, long time that Jen has served us so well. I would like to nominate Betsy Hunter.
Nomination of Betsy, a second for
I'll
Betsy.
second that nomination.
Chair position at this point. Any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, we have,
I just got sick.
we're good. We're going to go into voting. Let's start with Jan. She was nominated. Those who would like to see Jan as the chair of this board going forward, please raise your hand. Those who would like to vote for Betsy, would you please raise your hand? 3. Betsy has it. Betsy will be the chair of this board going forward.
I'd like to make a comment, please. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
I do, and I'm so grateful, Jan, for all your years and years and years of service. I know that lots of committees rotate the chair, and it just feels like it's the thing to do, you know? But again,
Doesn't feel that way to me, Jill, unfortunately, but
But that
I
is the tradition
understand.
of so many committees
Sure.
to
sure.
rotate the chair position.
Sure.
And again, your years of service are just notable and
Thank you.
commendable.
Thank
And thank you.
I think we all feel the same.
So, Betsy, it's yours. I'm going to start working on the other sheet on the reorganization. And I think the first one you can lead us into and you'll take it is the vice chair.
Looking for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Martha.
Is there a second?
House.
Is there any other nominations? Okay, so we'll vote for Martha for vice chair. All in favor? Okay, for secretary, is that going to be Anne?
Deanne again.
Continue. And do we go through the nominations?
No,
We just make it
We
through
just
it.
pray.
she can't escape.
Payroll authorizer has been myself, and I'm happy to continue as I have the iPad. Things are working unless somebody else would like to have a chance.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I'll continue in that capacity. We'll move down to subcommittees. I have also, policy is the first subcommittee that we will entertain, and that is one that I have done, and I am also willing to continue that unless somebody else feels like they would like to work on policy.
Thank you, Betsy.
Central office budget.
I've been doing that. I'll continue.
Would you like to?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jan. You're a pro.
And negotiations.
Just a sec, I just want to make sure. We're going, I anticipate we're going into negotiations again. So this is,
I'd like to be on that
Okay.
committee. Continue.
Should we be voting on each of these, or is it?
unless anyone else wants to nominate can always nominate a second person, if not.
Okay. Transportation committee, has that been Martha? Is anybody else interested in transportation? Okay,
Thank you, Martha.
so, health and wellness,
I've been doing that, happy to continue.
Thank you, Jan.
substance abuse task force,
I can stay with that if people are okay with that. Let's do it.
Cape Cod Collaborative.
I'm happy to stay with that.
Amen.
PTA liaison has been myself. Is anybody else interested? Okay, then I'll stay with that. And school council liaison. Is that
If anybody else want to do it, I'm happy to continue.
And then our Union 54.
I'm happy to remain doing that.
I'm afraid of my Irish whispers.
Jan, would you like to
Sure.
do Union 54? Sure. And then alternates will be Martha and Warren.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I'm wondering if Jan has something to say at this point.
I do.
Please,
I do, under member speak, I would say, right?
I have no chair's report.
Okay. Actually, a lot of things had happened during the last month. One thing that seems sort of strange to me, but we received a very thick application for the 4 habitat houses, the comprehensive permit that was going before the Board of Appeals. And even though we're not abutters, for some reason, I guess they sent this whole thing out to each town board. And I just commented back to them. They wanted either a comment or that we weren't going to make a comment. And I said no comment because the Board of Appeals, school committee has no position on comprehensive permits. So left it at that. And then I hope I'm not going to embarrass Mr. Miller, but I feel I must read this into the record. I think it was an open space group that came to take your 4th graders out into the woods, right?
No, they came to our classroom.
Into the classroom. Oh, okay, it wasn't an excursion.
No, the 5th grade goes on this.
Out into the, okay. Well, the last couple of years, the Open Space Committee has really tried to make sure the kids know that there's a lot of good open space here in Wellfleet for them to walk on and to have their parents take them on and so forth. And a couple of Open Space Committee representatives came and talked to Mr. Miller's class, and Bob Jackson, who I think many of you know, wrote this amazing credit to Mr. Miller. And I think, knowing Bob as well as I do, he is a kind man and he gives compliments, but the things that he picked to comment on for Mr. Miller are the very heart and soul of our school and what every teacher should be. So I think you should all hear it. He said it was a real pleasure to work with a true master teacher. Your quiet control of your class and your rapport with your students were beautiful to behold. You have the ability to observe each person, to see what they need, and to deliver that help effectively. You help in such a way that you empower each student. You are masterful at articulating directions and ideas in such a way that they are accessible to this particular age group. All of us have a lot to learn from you about building a community where each person helps the other.
That's beautiful.
It's very kind of him.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Wasn't that a lovely?
It doesn't always go that way, but take it when you can.
I know,
It's gonna be hard now.
Yeah, he's gonna demand a raise,
That's right.
but I do think that was just capturing the essence of what a teacher
Thank you for sharing
should
that.
be.
That was
So
nice.
Good for you. Thank you.
Okay, any other members speak? Okay, do we have a citizen speak? All right, and then we'll move on to principal's report from Mary Beth.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add unless anyone has any questions. Oh, maybe I do have something to add. I take that back. On the second page, under school culture and climate, we do have a resignation of Miss Naomi Leather. So she's been here for 1 year in our substantially separate classroom, and she's been a wonderful educator. Very happy for her. She is pursuing her certification to become a behavior analyst, and she has 1,500 practicum hours to do, so she cannot be working full-time in order to do that.
Now, you're mentioning her, is her name Leather or Leather? Is it spelled?
Just Leather.
Okay, it's got another.
I mean a typo. So we do have a candidate coming on Monday, May 20th, for an interview. This is the only candidate so far that has the severe/profound special needs licensure. So she will be coming on Monday, and hopefully she will be our candidate moving forward. Any
That's a
questions?
challenging role.
It's a very challenging role. I did invite one of the parents to be on the committee.
Oh, any more information about open school?
School choice?
School choice. You
We
have
have-
one.
We have two.
We have two now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just on that school choice piece is that once we go through the process of the children, in this case we had two students, and communicates directly with the parents with a formal letter announcing that they have been accepted into the program and so forth. Mary Beth knows of this at this point, so it's an ongoing.
Great. First grade.
And right now, we're anticipating 105 students to open the school year. We have two families moving in from California.
Ooh.
They heard how good the school was. So let's
It's a
move
long
these.
commute.
Anyone else have any questions or something about the principal's report? Okay, so we'll move on to Tom's report.
So it's town meetings and town meetings and town meetings. And Giovanna and I have been traveling together for the most part. We split up with the East Hampton Brewster situation. Orleans was last night. We're going in for 30 more articles tonight. And we're having very good success across the board. It's always a pleasure to go into meetings when they have no questions. They have everything they need and they're ready to go, and that's been the rule of thumb across the entire region. So we're in great shape moving forward. The only other issue I might just share with you on a budget note that, as you know, all of the meetings are filmed, and last week's region meeting, we were talking about the project at the high school, and we're at a phase in the project at the high school where the educational plan is in, vision, and we're waiting for final approval. And during that process, we have to have some figure to send this material in with. And so we have what we call the owner's project manager, and that's one group. And then we have the architects and the engineers, and both groups are going to be looking at what they in their best estimate of what the potentially will be the cost of this project. And right now, it's being reported at $140 million, the project. Why that's significant is that we don't want surprises in our communities, so all the boards will hear this. I'm making my way back around to meet with all the town managers. And we have a brand new town manager in Worcester, who's just within a week or
So
so
is it,
starting. I haven't met him yet. Giovanna has. Giovanna,
Yes, his name is Peter Lombardi.
so we're trying to keep everybody abreast and no surprises. So I wanted you to know that number as well. Does that mean it's absolutely going to be that number? No, but that is the best estimate that they can give at this point in the process. And obviously, it's a significant number. So, thank you.
We'll move on to.
oh, and just one more. I was with a group of people, there was 2 architects today, and the subject came up about, my brain is not working, the sprinklers. And they were arguing about whether it's required by the state, and it is. So is anything happening here about that?
So we're in the phase, we have companies that we're trying to negotiate with to come in, we're going to have them come in and look at this for us. So that'll be moving forward here soon.
That was part of the capital plan for next year. So it's just approved at town meeting.
Okay.
Is it required in old schools or
Well, it's,
all schools?
that's what we want, clear direction, and we weren't quite clear on the dates and so forth, and renovation projects that have taken place here and so forth. I can tell you that at the high school, for instance, it's required, and so that's one of the pieces we need clarity on.
But that's a new construction.
That's right.
Right.
But if you do renovations, I mean, it's not only commercial, but it's in many communities now, residential as well, but you gotta go to the wet system, sprinklers. So we know so far. Thank you.
Ivana, Ms. Collins, budget review.
Thank you. Let's go directly to page 9 of the report. The prior month balance was $25,944. We were able to put back into the budget this month $7,703. We looked at the utilities and we were able to unencumber some funds in the electrical line. What happens is Abby looks at where we are and she projects out for the remainder of the year and then unencumbers the funds. So we're looking at a balance of $33,647. We did receive money at the town meeting for the to defray the costs of this student being educated at the collaborative of $57,517, leaving a balance of $91,164. Principal Rodman will be looking at the line items within the budget that she has put a hold on prior to receiving these funds, and she will come back with a plan the next time as to where the funds will be spent. But let's look at the items that were of significant change since last month's reporting. And of course, we also have to take into account a substitute's costs between now and the end of the school year. Even though we do have some funds encumbered, that's usually a line item that goes over what we budget. So we'll be looking at that as well. Okay, so looking at page 3, the substitute section at the top. The substitute teachers line, we spent or encumbered $450. What happens is Abby will have to adjust that because it wasn't the encumbrance was not reduced by the amount that was spent, so that will be taken care of for next month's reporting. Also, the line item 4068, the special needs substitute teachers, we spent $900 since last month's reporting, and then finally. 4071, the special needs substitute ed assistant, we spent $490 since last month's reporting. Okay. Moving on to page 7. Towards the top of the page, line item 4050, the overtime custodial. We spent $573 since last month's reporting, and that's based on need. Moving down to the utility section, line item 4062, the electricity, we unencumbered $13,000 since last month's reporting. We looked at where we are and what we anticipate spending through the end of June. And that's it. Any questions on the expenditure report?
Move on to the policies for a second read. So these are ones that we saw at our last meeting. The wellness, the tobacco for students, and the tobacco for staff. So we can look at the tobacco for the wellness policy first.
So there were no changes in this.
No, these were not, they were just, everywhere was having the first read.
I move we accept the wellness policy.
I second that.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Tobacco by students?
I move we accept the tobacco use by students policy. Or the non-use.
Yeah, I don't really love the title of that.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And then tobacco for the staff, which is basically the same policy, just adapted for staff.
I move we accept that policy. By
Second.
staff.
All in favor? That was everybody, unanimous? Okay. All right, so public forum further action, which is D.
Yes, we have now a total of, I believe it's 12 responses. And we had agreed at our last meeting that we would talk about this in June at better length. I've been through them, didn't really, there's nothing that surprising in it in terms of the kindergarten, preschool question. There seems to be an equal wish on the part of people
Sorry.
That's okay.
to
I'm so sorry.
No, no, it's fine.
there
Back
seems
up a couple, I missed it.
Okay, I really, the most driving thing for me as I looked at these, and Betsy and I will look at them together, is that there seem to be people who were very much in favor of the voucher system, especially with the addition of the younger class. But there were also people who were looking for a longer day program, working parents looking for more hours of preschool or childcare for those age groups. So it looks like it's something we're going to continue to explore and research pretty carefully.
The Wellfleet Forum had a pre-town meeting.
Yes.
And when the $100,000 voucher issue came up, people wanted to ask questions about why isn't it a part of the regular school? And they raised that
Yeah.
issue.
It's a good question.
Though a particular one pushing the issue was a retired school superintendent. I don't know her name or where she was a superintendent. She wondered why are we doing this through vouchers, not having it part of the school?
And the parents who are happy with the vouchers will say they like the idea of choice, and that's what's been expressed. as well as the longer hours. But I don't think we have enough data yet to,
So as, I think this is really on the agenda because at our last meeting, we had planned just to try to collect some more information at town meeting.
Right.
And though Mary Beth and I stood and handed out lots and lots of surveys,
Yeah,
few of them
nothing
trickled
came
back.
back.
But I do believe our committee decided that, any more work, quote unquote work, will be done at the table. And so, Martha, if you're so kind, or we can meet to sort of maybe just add to those documents that we had about
Yes.
the questions. And then that will give us some information to discuss
Next time,
in June.
form of focus and possible.
So,
Okay.
yes.
Along with that, Betsy, I might want to just mention that I don't know if people have put suggestions beyond the questions asked. But, we've kind of stalled, I think, in going forward with things. And we had at one point talked about possibly doing an IB program. And nobody's mentioned that in the last several months. And yet it's something that I think we should talk about and work on. And we have one in our high school. We know we've lost children to P-Town because of their IB program. And so I think we've got some, we try to run these meetings quickly and take care of the material in front of us and so forth. But I think we need some longer times to talk about possibilities, talk about all the things out there that are wonderful for children that we might be able to bring into our school. And so I hope that going forward there'll be time made for some of those things.
hopefully some of the work that's being done by the strategic planning committee will help us here
Good, I
come
hope
up with
so.
some of those,
Yep.
because they are thinking out of the box. And
Good.
they're
Good,
it's,
good.
it's a very
And
dynamic group.
I want to hear from Jill and then.
One of the things that struck me from the forum, some of the suggestions and inquiries that some people wrote down are already happening here. So it's just wonderful that these fantastic things are happening at the school, yet so many people aren't aware of it. So just thinking about all the great things that are happening at the school, and yet some people have no clue. And to further think about how we can get that across and what makes us so special.
That was exactly why we went to the community week, and I think we just gotta redouble our efforts and look at other strategies to somehow get them in here.
Even with the letter that accompanied the survey, people still put in things
Yeah,
that
that
was
were
attached to it that we already do.
Yeah, but you made a beautiful
Thank you.
listing, you really did, of, all the possibilities. I mean, 2 pages
Right.
worth of all the wonderful things we do, and they still, what can you do?
So I'm just, I'm inclined, I want to really take seriously this idea of that having stalled, because sometimes things do take time. I'd like us, in terms of any kind of initiative, to be guided by a strategic plan, not just our own interests. And so I think that maybe in the interim where the strategic plan is getting firmer and until it comes to fruition, I think we can maybe talk about outreach and how that communication and how we can, events like that, and bring that to our table, to work on that while we wait for a strategic plan. And I think preschool kind of comes up in that interim as well, because I'm not sure that would be a part of any comprehensive strategic plan, but as we go through those foreign papers, I would like to give us time to talk about our thoughts.
That's a good idea.
Anything else on public forum and our further actions? Jill, Cape Cod Collaborative?
Well, regretfully, I've missed 2 meetings in a row. However, I'm up to date with what's going on. Even from a distance, of course, I participated in the executive director evaluation, and after collating, not me, but after all the evaluations were in, once again, Paul Hilton, the executive director of the Cape Cod Collaborative, excels in leadership, management skills, communication, both verbally and written. As a matter of fact, he strongly believes in an informed board, and sometimes our packets are just so huge, but we have plenty of material about issues and what's on the agenda. The collaborative exists for all the member districts, so one of the outstanding things about the collaborative is it is typically responsive to the needs of the different communities that belong to the collaborative, all the different school districts. So for instance, transportation, when we looked into saving money for transportation, voila, the collaborative took that on. So Paul comes up in his evaluations as being very proactive, very resourceful, very knowledgeable. Some people like Jan and of course me, we have participated in the legislative breakfast each year, which pulls together almost perfect attendance of the Cape Cod legislators and school superintendents. Tom's been to a number of them. School committee people, special needs services people, and it's a wonderful opportunity to discuss what school districts are struggling with and what the collaborative can help to do, and the legislators who are so overwhelmed with so much, but where we can really pinpoint specifically what most of us, all the districts, share in needing an assist on beacon health. As of May 1st, Waypoint, the alternative high school, Nauset has 6 students enrolled. And as of May 1st, for the STAR program, the younger children, Nauset has 4 children enrolled. I can't tell you exactly how many children are Felicians, but once again, Nauset, there's 6 in the Waypoint High School program and 4 in the younger student program. There was a family lunch in the STAR program, the younger children program, and the director of that particular program was so pleased because she said it was approximately 150 to 160 people attended. So that includes students, family, and staff. To transportation, the collaborative is growing more and more with transportation. It looks like they're going to be taking on Monomoy, as well as all the other schools that the collaborative are working with transportation. As a matter of fact, since this is televised, the collaborative is trying to recruit more school bus drivers. That is a big need. So school bus drivers, get in touch with the collaborative if anybody is interested. October 11th will be a professional all-Cape in-service day that many school districts take advantage of, since October 11th tends to be pretty much a universal professional development day. There's a big fundraiser coming up. It's a golf tournament at the Atlantic Country Club in Plymouth. And it really raises a lot of money. And it's in the 11th year And it just raises hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So if anybody enjoys golf and wants to contribute to a fundraiser, get in touch with the collaborative. I'm looking for the date here. Sorry, I can't find the date. Well, it's after May 18th anyway, plenty of time. Here we go. June 8th, Saturday, June 8th. In my absence, people looked at a calendar and approved the calendar, and those are pretty much the highlights of keeping up with stuff at a distance.
Thank you, Jill, for doing
You're
that.
welcome.
It's good being
I'll be
informed.
there in June, I sure hope so.
Okay, preschool enrollment. Did anybody have any questions? Did we hear anything about the moving up the classroom?
That's happening.
It is happening.
Could we hear more about that then?
We'll have Ann come in and John. But the whole issue was hinging on whether they had space, a classroom space, which Bill Crosby, the principal, has been able to move around a couple of pieces, and his board agreed with moves so that that space could be made available for both. So that's what we stand. And you can get an update next month.
Mary Beth.
I would like to move forward with what I had mentioned before, is to extend that room to the rec department as their location. I think it would be great to have them on campus.
Good idea. Do we need a vote on that? I don't think so, just do it.
But I wanted to just mention it. I had spoken very briefly with Becky about, because she knew that the preschool might move and what was the plan. And I said, well, this is one of the things that I was thinking about. It would be great. Our kids are so fluid between the two programs that to have them here, I think would be a benefit.
Will that be available to them then during the summer as well?
I read something that the recreation department put out, and it sounds like they're really trying to think out of the box in terms of reaching out to the community. So it's nice for Wellfleet Elementary School to be part of that community piece right here in our school. And again, that just might bring us that awareness from some of the things, some of the things on that list. They might just happen naturally that way.
Right. And really using the building after hours as a community space,
Right.
for adult programming, et cetera.
There's some very interesting things on her
Okay.
flyer.
Okay.
I don't think they all were here, but just in having her here would be great. Okay, PTA. I wasn't able to. It was a 2:00 meeting. I was not.
Oh,
able
it was
to
canceled.
attend.
It was just Charity and me, so she canceled it.
Okay.
So we have one tonight.
Tonight. Okay, so I'll be there. So we'll pass on that information, and we'll go to Martha for substance abuse task force.
Yes, we have finished, the middle school has already had, and we have the results back, done their, surveys about, at-risk behavior. And, again, they are, pretty significant. There are things that are very significant. I am not sure right now. I did run off a copy of the results, but I'm not sure. I'm feeling that I'm not ready to share them until I hear from our chair that it's okay to do that. But again, there are a lot of concerns about kids who have stress and anxiety and depression. And a very large number of kids. That's coming from somebody who thinks no kids should have that, but it's still pretty significant. And we I have my notes from the last meeting. I was not at the last meeting, but the meeting before that. And one of the things that we were working on then were final tweaks for the high school survey. And because I was not at the last meeting, I did not find out whether or not that's ready to go or not. I am assuming that we're about ready to release that and have those kids fill out the surveys again. And no mention has been made about the elementary schools. And really, as far as that goes.
Do you want to move us right into strategic plan?
Sure. That's moving along pretty quickly. Not nearly as quickly as we had hoped because there's so much to talk about. We have too many papers and now I've lost it. We are working right now on the vision statement. We have a draft of the core values and a draft of the mission statement. And those are very brief and very accessible. We want to make sure that the strategic plan is something that we can use, that the staff can use, that the kids will be aware of. I found it. So right now, and this is just a draft, it leads off with a quote that it is not the pursuit of excellence that leads to fulfillment, but rather the pursuit of fulfillment that leads to excellence. And the core values themselves are education should inspire a passion for learning. We believe that every child matters, every child is unique, and every child deserves to feel safe. I think the first two parts of that were part of our original strategic plan. The mission statement is also very, very short. Nauset Regional School District prepares each student to succeed in an ever-changing world by providing a diverse and rigorous academic program that integrates social emotional learning and global awareness. This is very much, these are drafts, so we're not ready to present them to the school committee at large or any of that. We're presently working on the vision statement, which will be more detailed, but still we want to keep it brief and so that people are aware of them and people can say what they are. You know, they're aware of them as they're teaching, we're aware of them as we're talking about things here at the meeting, and that they're really living documents. The community school idea has figured very, very highly in terms of what we're looking at as part of our vision statement. So that idea of opening up the school to recreation and collaborating, getting adults into the buildings and seniors into the buildings and kids out of the buildings, all of that. Very, very big piece of it. And thank you again because I am loving this work.
Wellness committee.
Okay. I was very surprised to learn that we have gotten a grant for a Swedish compost cycler.
We're
And
gonna say
it's top of the line evidently. And so we're going to begin here at school with the scraps from the second lunch, I understand, and see how that goes. And we have a wonderful farmer in the school lady who really is on the ball with a lot of this stuff. And I think she comes in when she can and she works with our school nurse and it works out very well. So there are all sorts of possibilities coming up with that. And the other thing I thought was very interesting from our meeting is that we have been given a DESI grant for a nurse on Saturdays at the middle school. And I think this is the kind of nurse practitioner who is versed in social and emotional learning and those kinds of problems. And so young people can go on Saturdays to her and talk about problems
Saturdays?
Saturday, on Saturdays, so they can go with their parents and they can, at the middle school. I think that's a significant way to help and was very glad to learn about it. You probably know more about it
So
than I
I can
do.
tell you that at the joint meeting coming up, Ann Curdy will be doing a presentation on that.
Oh, good,
And to
Good.
talk about the grant, every aspect of this plan going forward. We've been working on this now a couple days a week, and we're very excited. And we've had an opportunity to talk with some of the state legislators relative to the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, Jillian, and another senator, relative to the mass health possibilities of being able to bill out this counseling time to recoup funds to keep it going. So you'll hear a lot more about it at that meeting. It's very exciting.
Yes.
I have a question, and I don't know whether it should be addressed to Jan or Tom or maybe both of you, but one of the things, as I hear you speak, Jan, about this committee, is that it really melds very well with the Mental Health Substance Abuse Task Force. And my
yes.
question is, should there be times when those two groups meet together? Because it's
Yeah, they thought so over the vaping issue, but I
Yeah.
think they've got a policy now on vaping, which came before joint meetings might have happened. But certainly there would be other possibilities for those committees to come
because
together.
that position that you're speaking of seems like it certainly is something that
Sure,
that our
for your committee
could help
too,
you guys
right?
with.
right?
This is just one other point, I want to put the board at ease that I'm not generally very interested in getting into grants if we don't see the value in sustaining it for
Right.
multiple
Right.
years. This is not, I don't enter into this discussion thinking it's one and done.
Right.
And so, we're very excited to continue to work on the sustainability of this effort going forward.
But the other caution about grants is sometimes grant money leads you to do something that we not necessarily want to do. The grantor wants this done. And we need to not just accept the money, but talk about, do we want to do this? And
Yeah.
Just to put you at ease, this is a Department of Education grant of all places to get this money, and there are really no strings attached other than what we wrote we wanted it for in terms of we're going to be having X amount of counseling sessions on Saturdays, and that's it. That's the only string.
No, I'm referring to outside parties or
Oh, okay.
give grants.
I got you.
The Bill Gates Foundation
Right.
gets schools to do things
Right.
that not necessarily the
You're
school should be
exactly
doing.
right. I understand that. What you mean. Yeah.
All right, I guess we are at that time where we will approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Okay. I circled OPEB funding is in the region budget, but I asked you,
Yeah,
and you told me it's the sound, the county does it, so we all know what OPEB is now.
yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Isn't it lovely, as I'm just thinking about our town meeting and what we went through. The town meeting was so generous in supporting everything. No questions asked. It's quite a wonderful task space community. We're lucky.
We're used to, in years past, having to fight for the budget. People, I don't wanna give all that money. What's it, John Makeley, chairman of the finance committee, came in here and said, because of your budget, the town can't have any ambulances. Our budget. And now, everybody, it's great. So,
Generous, very generous.
Generous, and I would also say, Tom gets out there, no surprises. So when things are happening, I think the communication between our school and the town has increased and has been very positive, which has led more understanding, and when people understand, then they can agree and see the strengths.
I move that we adjourn.
Oh, should we just do the minutes?
Oh, I thought we did.
No, we didn't do the minutes yet.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, more
I'll have
you're
to
up.
abstain because I wasn't there.
I move that we adjourn.
May I make an announcement before you do? As you know, probably, everybody knows that all these recordings are on the town website. Front page, you go down to Video on Demand, press that, and it'll take you to our page where we have the program. And it's very well organized there. And also to tell you that we have a new media manager for Wellfleet Television. It's Mia Baumgarten. I don't know if anybody knows her. She's doing a terrific job. If you have any questions, comments, anything, concerns, contact her.
Thank you.
I have one other thing. This Thursday, the public, Lower Cape Community TV is having a big celebration along with their annual meeting. They manage the public access channel 99, the educational channel, which is Tom is very well familiar with, 22, and the Wellfleet channel 18, which is our channel here. So you're all invited to that, by the way. There's free food, there's terrific kinds of entertainment and stuff. It's well worth a stop in, and we start at 5:30. So
This
please come
coming-
and pass the word.
Yeah, there's time.
Pass the word. That's
Thank you.
you bet. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for recording, Tom.
Oh, you bet. My pleasure.
All right, so we had a motion to adjourn, but we did not get a second. Did you second it? Okay. All in favor, thanks, everybody.
Yes, we're adjourned.